like to welcome everyone to Let's Talk Soda, the panel that you've all been waiting for.
Welcome to the soda panel. We're here to talk about our favorite sodas and open Q&A. It's your favorite. I see a hand back there. Yes, question about soda, I hope.
The thing is with Dr. Pepper in Canada, even though it's distributed by Pepsi in Canada, in the States it's its own company.
Sir, you're going to have to frame that in the form of a question.
Alternatively, you're in Canada, so it's pop.
Yeah. Hey, fun fact, this is the room where I did my very first panel in Canada ever.
Yay!
So I'm just getting nostalgia.
Hey everyone, welcome to the actual panel, Let's Talk Anime. I'm here with some fantastic YouTubers over on the far right, and I am delighted to be doing a panel with him for the first time. It is the legendary Mario enemy from a different land, the Gaijin Goomba.
It does actually come off, much to my surprise.
To slightly closer of my right, the frostiest anime YouTuber in existence. It's Arcada. To my left, the dangerous, the unstoppable anime uproar. And I'm a super iPad Wolf. Nice to meet you.
AKA the sexiest man alive.
Do we only have like one working mic? Oh,
No, I think these are...
Doo-doo. Oh,
these
good.
alternate or...
Okay, you guys have that one. Is there another one we could steal from either the other table or somewhere else? If not, we will share.
I can share.
Wait, how does this?
It doesn't. It's a very small... Wait, no, there's Slack. Hang on.
Okay. It needs to be. I think that's good. All right. So you guys got one. You get your own. Bravo, you special. No, we're sharing.
Yeah,
we can share.
We're
used to it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Oh, we've got a good rhythm. Who would like to ask the first question? Oh dear.
This is gonna be great.
As someone who was at the drunk drawing panel last night, I need to know, iPad Wolf, you don't actually hate My Hero, do you?
Oh dear. So I was at the drunk drawing panel last night, and I might have been drinking in the audience beforehand, and then they called me up on stage, and I had to say some things. So I might have had some choice words about some popular series. I don't hate Hero Academia. I don't think it's that good either.
I can completely see why though.
Yeah,
I mean it makes sense.
I think like the strength of that show is that it takes a lot of what makes shonen anime great, and it like repackages it in a way that's really accessible to people. Like it gets through so much in 40 episodes. But I also feel like if you've seen a lot of shonen anime, you can kind of, you know what it's pulling from, and it's less of a surprise. So a lot of Hero Aka for me is like, yeah, okay, it's doing that scene. Cool, okay. And so I get why people like it, but yeah, it's not my favorite series. What do you guys think about My Hero Academia?
See, I'm kind of in the... This does not sound like... Is this on? Is this seriously on?
It is.
Okay, it just doesn't sound like it. I'm kind of in... See, here's the thing. I can completely understand where you're coming from, but My Hero was what actually got me much harder back into anime, because I've been around long before, like, the Moe boom. And then when the Moe boom hit, I'm like, I'm done. And then I saw My Hero, and I'm like, all right, here we go again. I'll give this a shot. But no, like, what was it? Was it winter 2017? It was last season. Last season had some freaking killer.
Last season was like stacked good stuff.
Yeah. So that was like, I was like, oh my god, it exists. The good exists. So, I have a funny story with My Hero. I refuse to read the manga based purely on the premise that I want to experience the story in its animated form, because it looks fabulous. I mean, you can... I've heard people say that some of the fights can get a little drawn out. I think Giga did that video, didn't he? Whatever. Some of the fights can feel a little drawn out. Sometimes I feel like the pacing is a little weird. Like, sometimes things go really fast. But there are so many new things that they're trying, and God bless them, they're actually paying attention to the foreign market. I mean, I know we have this big hullabaloo over, is it Bokuno or is it Mai? And it's like, One.
Fine. It is though. It's in the title.
So's the other one.
Yeah,
in larger
in
print.
Japanese characters.
In larger
But
print.
then they actually translated it for us. They're like, we're gonna make sure you don't get this shit wrong. Here it is.
Been hanging out with Taka too much.
Actually, I've been hanging out with Taka a bit.
That's sad, because
I
he's
know.
a nice dude.
He is.
Anyway, getting back to topic. No.
Soda.
Canadian Dry, God's gift to man from Canada, so I guess it's not God. Anyway, no, like, I can completely understand why people wouldn't like it, but for me, it was one of the things that got me pulled back in after Moe Blob and Moe Blob and Moe Blob and hey, you want to talk? Hey, you want me to say something controversial? I hate Haruhi Suzumiya with a fiery burning passion, so now we can share the hatred.
What?
I just met you and I don't know what to think now.
Well, guys, I'm going to shut this down. Thank you for joining us. Guys, what are your thoughts on Hiroaka? I'm curious.
Relax. Okay. I want to get up there. Okay, cool. So my personal thoughts is I wasn't on board right away. So I wasn't. It was interesting because some parts of the show I love, like the villain arcs especially, like the USJ arc in the first season, and then the Stain arc and the Forest Training Camp arc, all for one. But I wasn't super on board with the school arcs, with the training arc, because I felt it was like really reminiscent of like Naruto, stuff like that. So it took me reading the manga back when season 1 finished airing to actually get into it and be like, oh, this really does have a lot of potential. I really enjoy it. So, and also it's cool that it has a lot of side characters that are very interesting. Like, my favorite character is not Deku, it's Todoroki, right? So I like those parts of the story, whereas some people really love Deku, other people love Bakugo, and male tsundere. But yeah, so I think
We call that Vegeta.
And yeah, so I think that there's strengths and weaknesses to the show, but I definitely appreciate it overall.
I like Naruto, so that was a win for me. But I really like the idea that they fused superheroes with anime, right? That's like what really sets it apart for me. And I always loved superheroes. I used to go around the street screaming I was Batman as a
I
child.
love Tiger and Bunny if you ever watch it.
I will need to watch
I
that.
think that's when he was a kid, but that was actually 4 months ago.
Yeah, that was actually fun.
That was slightly before the panel.
So for me, it's just like a winning formula because I love superheroes, I love anime, and it was just the perfect thing to come out.
I need to preface my opinions in that I have never seen Naruto.
Wow.
I mean, well, it's because of age thing. Like in the big eras of like Naruto and whatnot, like when it comes to like age appropriate content or whatever, like I was kind of getting older, and then once it's kind of how I am with One Piece. It's like I respect the hell out of One Piece. I can't start it because I don't have time to finish. There's no catching up.
Like, that's a significant chunk of your life you're losing.
It actually is.
And I say that as someone who loves One Piece, but I'm not gonna be like, you should totally spend the 900 hours.
Right? No, it's just like, and that was my problem. It's like, is there stuff that I could like about Naruto? Yeah. It's just, the thing is, when I look at My Hero, I don't see those parallels because I don't have anything to base it off of.
Yeah. And like, you know what, My Hero, I think, I would say like, it's my problem.
It's my problem. I'm the one who watched all these goddamn shonens, and now like I nearly know too much. And so it's like, I understand when people are kind of like, oh, it takes a lot of the bullshit out, because it does. It takes out a lot of the grind of it, like you were saying. And like I can understand. I think it's kind of cool for that reason, even if it's not something I personally enjoy. Next question, please. Let's go for you there.
If you could have any anime remake, which one would you pick?
I heard something. I'm sorry, Tsukihime needs to first be adapted before we can get a re-adaptation.
That is a really tough question, honestly.
What if we just want more of something? Can we?
Well, yeah, we could say we could say in doing a remake, we do like what Hunter x Hunter did, where it's like we want more of it. But yeah, feel free to redo the stuff you already did.
Yep. You know,
It's been a while.
drama aside, I would love to see a modern take on Rurouni Kenshin.
Yeah.
Drama aside, I guess drama aside. If the mantle was taken by someone else.
So wait, when you say you want more Kenshin, do you want like more original Kenshin, or do you want more like Samurai X Kenshin?
I kind of want more Samurai X Kenshin.
Okay.
Because the thing is that Kenshin did not age well in my opinion, but only really because like it was so steeped in like wild takes and things of that nature, like very 90s anime trope things. Like I complain about modern anime, but no, like 80s and 90s anime had their own tropes that you get sick of real easy. It's just I would like to see that kind of context of like you can get super heavy and then maybe light and get super heavy, get kind of light because it's a good drama. Mm-hmm. It's a good drama setup. To be a little bit tragic too would be kind of cool. In that era would be cool. But that's just...
I think it's a tough question because like a lot of what I love about particular anime is I love anime that feels like the time it's made. So like say something like Cowboy Bebop. I can't imagine what Cowboy Bebop is in 2018 because it's such a 90s show, and I think that's kind of what makes it special, you know? So I think I really have a lot of trouble answering that. I think I never want to see Yu Yu Hakusho remade. No, it's perfect the way it is. It's fucking perfect. We can tell you this panel, right? I'm terrified. Like, what if it's bad? You know?
I think that a wise man once said that the Akira film kind of rushed the manga. So that, making a series out of Akira would, I think, be good.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'll show you the video where the guy says it. It's really good. But I would like to see some 1970s anime remade potentially, although I'm afraid. But something like Rosa Versailles, Future Boy Conan.
Well, honestly, look at Voltron for crying out loud. Like that's a series I never thought could be made modernized, and I know that that's like quote anime, not anime.
Yeah.
But I think those kinds of adaptations are entirely possible.
For me, I'm not as big on remakes, like ruining old shows. You know, I think like we always have, which is controversial, but we always have the original if we want it, and you don't have to watch the new one. And this might get some hate, but I like to see Death Note happen with...
Why?
Because I'm not a huge fan of the ending the way it is, and I'd like to see perhaps an alternate ending happen with Death Note.
When you talk about Death Note, it's like you think it happened so long ago, and it makes me feel so old.
But Death Note did have an alternate ending in the live-action films.
Which one?
Not the Netflix one. That doesn't exist.
I could always use more though.
No, but in the Japanese live-action films, it was a completely different ending. So
look, I don't mind if you shit on the Netflix one, but Duke was actually a perfect cast.
yeah, but he was only there for like 5% of the film. But other than that, yeah, he was perfect casting and he did really well. But he couldn't shoulder the whole film.
I
don't think he wanted to. He was just like, yeah, let's just do this. For me, most of the time it's like I wouldn't want a remake. I would just want a show to finish what it actually started because I have so many shows that just ended poorly. So one, I wouldn't mind like a Hunter x Hunter remake from the start, just so like continuity's nice and set in stone. Is if we got another Spice and Wolf, because then that would be really good. And the other very big long shot that I know will never happen because of who wrote it is Hayao Miyazaki in his first written film, Nausicaa. In order to get that film made, because at the time the only way to make anything is to have it based off of a popular manga, Miyazaki actually wrote like a 9-volume manga series for Nausicaa and sold it so that they could use it to actually fund the film. But they're two very different things. The story of the film is very different from the story of the book, and I would love to see the actual story of the manga get adapted, but that's never going to happen because it's Miyazaki and he doesn't care.
On the topic of having just straight up good endings or ending a series well, like 90% of Numiko Takahashi's work, I would like to see have a good ending.
Like, I think Takahashi doesn't want it to have a good ending, which is why it doesn't.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like I'm so invested in everything that she makes, and then the series don't end; they stop. Am I incorrect in that assumption?
I'm trying to remember all of it.
Because it's like I look at Ramon Half, I look at Maison Yikoku, which raise your hand if you've ever read or seen that. Thank you. We got some OGs in the house. Inuyasha, like
Well, Inuyasha ended with the final act.
Hey, what about your Atsura?
Well, I mean, that's just the thing. I don't know. I would love to see, like I said, I'd love to see some of the older stuff made a bit more modern. So,
Next question, please. You.
In your voice acting panel, you mentioned who you'd have like voicing you, like in terms of Canadian cast. But since we're talking strictly anime, who would you want to do an anime about your life? Like if there was a true Japanese anime about your life, who would you want to create it, and why?
I don't know, I think that would be a really dull, depressing anime.
Yeah, no.
And this is when he made the unfortunate decision to become an anime YouTuber. What about you guys? What studio and director would you like to be, like, direct an anime about your life?
Well, just going back to your thing for a bit, I'm actually fully expecting an anime to be made about an anime YouTuber. A certain virtual anime YouTuber.
Yeah.
Hi domo, kizunaides. That's Kamen. She's already got a Nendroid.
She's putting us all out of business.
Have any of you guys been to Japan since she got big?
No.
Uh-huh.
Why? Is she everywhere?
Yeah!
Oh boy. So that's coming.
It's interesting because she's in more places than Miku at this point.
Well, Miku's been around for a very long time though, so it's
But
kind of a...
Miku.
She's new Miku.
Yeah, she's new Miku.
She's better Miku. Don't at me. Don't at me.
Don't end.
No. Like, I've talked with Joey and Aki, and they've actually met the people behind that, and I've heard
People behind?
I mean, they went into the TV and met her.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Again, I think my life would be like horribly boring. So this is more of a question of who's your favorite anime studio that you would have like animate things, and I guess PA Works is who I would pick.
For me,
Silence. Yeah, that's great. I love it. Love it.
I think for me and Animac, Trigger would be a pretty awesome studio.
Is
And
your
I feel
life
like
really
But-
deserving of a trigger?
But I feel like they could make anything interesting, including my life.
Yeah, the question was, who would you like to make an anime about your life? Not who would more realistically do it. But yeah, I like to think that Gurren Lagann is an anime about my life, so I'll just leave it
I
at
was
that.
about to say,
Gotta get out of the cave.
so when you're on your deathbed, do aliens just come out of nowhere?
We'll see.
Yeah. Wow, that one fell flat. I apologize. I don't know. Honestly, like for me, and this is going to sound weird, but take this as a very, very aged weeb from way back in the day. I would want Miyazaki to do a movie based on my 2 years in the JET program. Because I've actually made a really, really poorly drawn manga series about it from way back when. It was a Yonkoma manga from whatever. But, like, Miyazaki has this propensity to do really, really good at making movies and shows about life. Maybe there's not a really good cut and dry, like, antagonist, protagonist, whatever.
Most of his films don't have that though, so it's fine.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's why I would choose him, because in that kind of life, there really is no big bad or big good or anything like that. There's just life, and I think that's what I love. That's what I can find solace in his work, and why I would want that interpreted. But that makes me sound pretentious.
I think only Miyazaki could do my life. Me, I'll just take A1, it's fine. Next question, please. You there.
How do you guys decide what to start? It's like when a new season is coming out, how do you decide, oh, watch that one, and that one?
Normally I just look at the chart and I'm just like, hey, you guys made cool stuff before, maybe you'll make cool stuff again. And then I start with that. And then eventually I either like some of it or I don't. And then I have like 50 bajillion people on Twitter who's saying, yeah, can you please watch Angel of Death and that, because it's really great. Okay, thanks.
I'm having a great time with that show.
I don't know, like I only watch watched I think the first episode, and I even wrote an FR script on it, and then it didn't go anywhere because I kept on having all my friends saying it was great, and I'm like, I already wrote this script shitting on the first episode, so maybe I shouldn't turn this into a video.
Oh, you should. You stir that hornet's nest.
Well, no, because maybe
Think of the views.
at this point though, maybe because then that would mean I'd have to watch the rest of it. Maybe my opinion would change at that point, and then I'd be like, I don't know. But just based on the first episode, I was like, eh.
But see, if you come around at the very end, it won't be relevant anymore. Or, I don't know, something horrible.
Have you seen my channel?
I have a weird, I have a weird problem when it comes to that, because what I do is very, very finite. Like, a lot of these guys can review based on their own terms and their own opinions. I culturally research stuff. So I get suggested stuff like, we rent Tsukumogami. And I sat down, I watched that, and I'm like, God, if this were authentic, this would be a horror show. Really, I think what it has to boil down to, as a seasoned YouTuber, is things that look appealing to us, and then we go into it, we write about it, and then that's what made last season so great. At least for me, when it came to getting back into anime content, is that there was a lot of great stuff to choose from. But next season comes out, or next season's out.
Yeah. It started.
Oh God.
We're almost halfway.
No, I'm not ready.
It's only 3 months, man.
No, I'm not ready. Anyway, and it's kind of average. It's not terrible.
No.
It's just all right.
And considering how much was in last season, there's going to be a lot of people that it's just like, oh yeah, I didn't finish everything from last season.
Yep.
So we're catching up.
Yep. So I think for me, it's just a matter of what we personally find intriguing. Because if we try to find something that's popular that we hate, we're either going to end up kicking the hornet's nest, or we're going to end up hating ourselves for basically trying to do what people want us to do rather than succeed in fulfilling our creative freedom.
Or both.
And I mean that's if you do that too much, that's when you get YouTuber burnout, which is what I talked about yesterday. So yeah.
What about you guys?
So personally, I think what we do is there's certain anime that we cover regularly on the channel, so we follow those obviously. And then I've gotten to the point where the seasonal anime, when I get bothered enough by friends and people on social media saying this is really good, then I know to watch that. So basically, I wait because every season there's 3 or 4 anime people you have to see this, and then I see that. But I've stopped. I've tried before to watch the first 3 episodes of everything coming out and be all
That's impossible.
fair about it, but
There's 40 to 50 new shows every 3 months.
yeah, so I gave up on that about a year ago. Yeah.
Well, I'm currently in school, so I don't have to be very selective. I'm finishing up, but I have to be very selective. So it's usually what we love and what our fan base loves. And also if something's big and everyone's talking about it, I really love those moments where we, as an anime community, global community, discuss the same anime. I think that's always a really cool phenomenon every time it happens and when we get really into it. So I definitely don't want to miss animes that everyone's talking about.
So Eromanga says.
That was still an Akihabara 3 months ago, by the way.
Next question, please. Let's go for you there, sir. Yep.
I'm gonna catch you off guard with this one.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things we all know about bad adaptations into Western movies. What about the other way around? Is there anything Western that you think would be cool?
Powerpuff Girls.
That happened. They got that happened. Actually, good that
Is the question, are there Western series we would like to see interpreted as an anime?
Yeah.
Okay, my bad. I jumped the gun.
No, I agree.
Man, there's actually a really great Marvel comic I really like called Old Man Logan, and I think that could make an amazing anime
That would be
series.
cool.
I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
It's possible too. A lot of comic book stuff already have anime and vice versa. So my pick would probably be something just really weird because I'm wondering what they would do with it. Is if we saw something like Star Trek as an anime. I'm this would be so ridiculous. I have to see it.
They did a manga of Star Wars, right? But not of Star Trek.
Yeah, not of Star Trek.
That's surprising.
Yeah.
For me, Mega Sex LR. That's so perfect. I'll even if it's 3D, I'll take it.
I'm watching Vikings right now, and I think I would love to see that just because I can't get enough Vikings, and I can't get
Vinland Saga. Vinland Saga.
yes, and I can't get enough anime, so that would be perfect.
I'm just gonna say the popular answer, Firefly.
Yeah.
Next question.
Give it up.
Next question, please. You in the purple right at the back. Yes, you.
Favorite exhibit from Jappery Park?
What?
This is a Kimono Friends question. Am I the only one at this panel that's watched Kimono Friends?
You might be.
First up, everybody on this panel, watch Kimono Friends.
The wheels don't turn.
But they have Crunchyroll logo for their headlights. Eh?
You are further unselling me on this show.
Penguins. Penguins' favorite exhibit.
I'll give you that.
We gave it our best shot. Next question, please. Let's go for you there. Yes.
Do you guys have any thoughts on the live-action Fullmetal Alchemist?
No. Next question. I haven't seen it. I'll leave this to the guys.
It exists. It's a thing.
I had to see Gluttony and Gate form once, and I'm like, that boy's waddling like a penguin.
Because here's the thing. Okay, there's a lot of stuff that comes out of the Japanese equivalent of Hollywood, and most of it is not great. There are some times where it can be at least halfway decent to good, like when they did Death Note, because that worked. But Fullmetal Alchemist relies on so much special effects. And it's one thing when you watch Death Note and you can just laugh at how bad Ryuk looks in those films, even though he has the right voice, so it's perfect. But then you look at Fullmetal Alchemist, and there's stuff supposed to be flying everywhere, and it looks so bad. I'm just reminded of this one. I can't remember if it's from some tokusatsu show or something. Of this one guy that's just crying, and it's like CG tears. I see it all over the internet all the time, and I'm like, that's that. And I'm like, it's just
Wait, is
not
it the
good.
waterfall? I guess it's like.
It's a gift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a guy that has like 3D tears. It looks really bad.
Yeah, unpopular opinion, but I didn't mind the movie. I enjoyed it, and I think it's because I have such low expectations for live action adaptation, and also, like Arcada says, I really didn't think that Fullmetal Alchemist could be brought into like live action and not be sort of like playfully cringy. So I just went into it with like, hey, let's enjoy this. It's not this. I didn't expect it to be as good as the anime. Even
I thought the Death Note live action was fun.
Boo.
I'm dead inside. Your boos do nothing.
But yeah, I didn't mind the movie. I'd watch the other one if they make another one.
Yeah. I agree with that. We watched it together, and again, because the expectations are so low, you almost can't mess it up unless you're Netflix. But otherwise, oh man.
Next question, please. Let's go for you there, sir.
What was the last absolute train wreck you completely finished? Like, I watched all 24 episodes of Cross Ange, and that was a dumpster fire. And I watched it just to see how bad it got, and it got bad.
At the end of last year, I did this thing where I reviewed 5 really horrible shows. Cross Ange was one of them. So those, not including those, because those were horrible, the last absolute train wreck that I fully finished was a literal train wreck, because it had a train in it. It was called Cabaneri and the Iron Fortress. And it had an amazing start. The first half of that show, if you just watched it as that, it is great, it is amazing, it is worth every second you watch it. As soon as that halfway point hits, stop. And we can hope that if they ever make a sequel, and I've heard rumors that they just retcon the second half, because they totally can. Because where they ended at the halfway point, they're like, okay, we're just going to be on our train, journeying through Japan. Where did they end the series? Okay, we're on our train, journeying through Japan. Only one guy died, so we just retcon that, and everything else we just pretend never happened.
That is exactly how I feel about Gurren Lagann.
Ooh,
no, you want to talk about train wrecks?
I agree.
Okay, so here's the thing.
Okay, next question.
No. Gurren Lagann hurt me so bad. If something starts getting bad, I just bail. So like that's the last thing. To answer the question, that is literally the last thing I can think of that I finished to completion. That to me was a train wreck.
Wow.
No. Here's the thing. In my mind, after they defeat all the Beastmen and they came back to the surface, that's where it ended.
So before the time jump.
There is no time jump. There is no anti-spiral energy crap. There is nothing else in my head. There is just they got to the surface and everything's
I'm not even that big a Gurren Lagann fan, but even I'm like, holy shit.
I bet you're learning stuff about me all the time.
Yeah, man, this is opening my eyes.
Okay, Gurren Lagann is perfect and amazing, Gaijin. Love you, man, but
Oh yeah, because
perfect and
Communist
amazing.
2.0 is so good.
Hey, listen.
Guys, thanks for coming out to see.
Alright, so there's gonna be another panel at 3 that we're hosting philosophy and anime, and that panel is just gonna be me railing about how Gurren Lagann is awesome. So yeah, but personally,
Here's a sample from that panel. And that motherfucker, guys, you couldn't.
Hey, it's all good fun. It's
no,
nothing personal.
of course. Gurren Lagann, someone not like it is the closest I get to Triggered, but of course I
Triggered.
And scene.
Yeah. But personally for me it was actually Sword Art Online. I watched the whole Sword Art Online and after I was like, no. And I actually hated Mother's Rosario, the final arc. People say they liked it. You said you liked it,
I
right?
do like it.
I hate it. I thought
I
it was so contrived and like didn't fit with like what they were saying.
Unlike everything else in that series.
Okay, I'm taking bets on who throws the first punch.
No punch.
No punches.
Just kicks.
Yes, only kicks, no hands. For me, again, I don't I'm open to dropping, so that happens. But I did like Iron Blooded Orphans a lot, but the ending it ruined it for me completely. So that's one that, in the end, it was just like I didn't see the train coming,
Well-
but we got to a train wreck.
Yep.
But, you know, Gundam.
Which one?
All of them.
Honestly, have you ever seen X?
Yes.
Non-Universal Century Gundams are typically pretty decent.
So wait. X was end of 90s? Was that
X
the one?
came after Wing. And
Yeah, X
before
came after
that-
Wing.
That was the one that got canceled because it
That
was
was
so
the one
bad.
that got canceled and they threw it on a Sunday morning because apparently they hate money and good things.
Okay,
It's good.
So that's why I never watched it, because it was the one that got canceled.
No, seriously, like go back and watch it because it doesn't do anything that original Gundam does except for good fights.
And colony drops.
That too. Because it's like it's a post world. Like Gundams aren't and mobile suits aren't all over the place. It's like post Universal Century War.
No, my point wasn't that I hate Gundam and that they all end horribly. It's just that they can and they have and they do a lot.
Have you tried to go back and watch Wing?
Yes.
It's hard.
It's not good.
It's hard. It's hard to watch that.
I
Wing
enjoy
was-
Gundam Seed.
If Wing was half as long as it would have been great.
Yeah, I agree.
So, to return to the question, sorry. I actually, I drop show that. Like, so if a show is getting bad, I'll just drop it. So I don't really watch much that I don't like to completion. But there was one, and I actually talked about this in our panel yesterday, where it was a show called Wanna Be the World's Strongest. Yeah. Will I say that? Is there a point? Was everyone? Okay. So it's this show, and it's about wrestling girls, which I'm not going to get too much into it, but that's up my alley. That's cool. And I really wanted this show to be good, and I was like, come on, just fucking get better. Just stop being terrible. Come on. And I was like, okay, you know what? This is like episode 10. I was like, I'll give it one more episode. If it's still bad, I'm just dropping it, because I'm not finishing this to completion. And then at the end of the episode, they're like, well, everyone, that's the entire series. And I was like, no, wait, you tricked me.
Did you finish the Junji Ito collection?
I think I got to episode 11, which was like 90% of the way there. And then when I released the video, I was like, well, don't need this shit anymore.
Yeah. I was really curious if you finished that, so, yeah.
Next question, please. Let's go for you there, sir.
So, from what it seems like with the My Hero Academia thing, for some it kind of reinvigorated wanting to watch anime. So I was wondering if there was any show in particular you think where My Hero Academia kind of reinvigorated your want to watch them, if there's a series that kind of ruined a genre for you for a little while.
I can just feel the seething hatred.
Because I'm recovering. Please don't do this to me. I'm making good ends with the anime community again. Please don't do this to me. All right. The truth is coming out, and this is nothing personal, all right? This is personal preference.
Like, after the Gurren Lagann thing, what could he possibly be able to say?
If he says Hunter x Hunter, I'm gonna laugh.
I actually still need to see it.
Okay.
But it's how long is it?
148.
That's not terrible. Okay, let me explain. Again, I grew up in the pre-Moe boom. So when Haruhi Suzumiya rolled around, I hated it. Now let me explain why. And this is.
I don't even consider that the start of the Moe boom, to be fair.
Well, I mean, it's.
I consider Lucky Star. That's the start.
That I can understand that. I can totally understand that. Lucky Star was to me was just boring.
Yep.
I just you get that great big bombastic introduction, and then it's like, how do we eat this
Chocolate cornet.
chocolate cornet? It's like. You just put it in your mouth, girl. How do I stop the chocolate dripping? Eat it the other end. Yeah. No, but it's like.
It's anime schoolgirl Seinfeld.
Wow. I want that now. Okay, but no. So here's the thing. Haruhi Suzumiya is the poster child for the things that I do not like about anime, aka way too much moe. And the problem that I have is that here the vibe that I got, and I could be completely off base, and if I am, I apologize. What I got from that is, here is a total brat. She is God. You will do what she says. And I said, fuck that.
I was like, go on.
The other characters are really cool. I like the other characters. I hate her, but the world literally revolves around her. And now we have this culture of like, waifus are everything, even though they're not that much.
Did you, or you probably didn't at all, but did you even think to watch the spin-off series that was about Disappearance Yuki Nagato? Because Haruhi's in it, but the world doesn't revolve around her. She's just kind of there.
Can you tell me more? Later on, at some point? Yes. That sounds heavenly.
Yes, it does. No, that was following. Okay, so the movie happened, and then the movie was so good because they had Yuki Nagato that wasn't technically like alien brain dead. It was kind of just her as a normal girl before Haruhi screwed with the world. So then what they decided to do was like, okay, well, let's just, what was that world like before the movie happened? Before Kyon like did his world time jumping whatever the hell. So then they made a spin-off series about it, and it's a slice of life series, but Yuki Nagato is the main character, and the ship in that show is her and Kyon. Haruhi's there, she shows up, but like she's not the focus of it anymore.
See, I'm super willing to give that a shot. Yeah. I'll give you guys that much.
Yeah.
How you guys doing?
Good. I'm alright, man. I'm calm down, I'm breathing deep.
Okay, good. So yeah, just we only got a little bit left. We can get through this.
For me, I'm gonna say Iron-Blooded Orphans. A bit turned me off after the ending, but it wasn't a long hiatus.
The
question was?
What almost ruined anime for us?
I don't know.
It's hard, yeah. I mean, we've been into
It's really not.
Finish everything, yeah.
I feel like you guys are fresh-faced enough that just the long-term anime fatigue hasn't set in yet.
Yeah, we will.
I just want to hear you talk about Bleach.
I love Bleach. Yeah, I like Bleach. Bleach is cool. For a while.
I have yet to watch.
What about the Simpsons?
Man. Let's not go there. Next question, please. Let's go for user.
So, do any of you have specific favorites, Japanese seiyus or voice actresses, voice actors?
Mamoru Miyano.
Yes.
I think the Japanese voice acting scene is really weird. Why? It's such a coincidence that they're all attractive. It's like so weird.
Some of them aren't though. Like what was it? People who did Excel after that. Puni Puni Poimi. Her voice actor, she like, I don't want to say bad things.
Also, like, if you go back far enough, the voice actress that does Goku and Gohan, like young version, she's really old.
Yeah, she's supposed to push.
All right, let's abandon this particular part of the question.
What about you guys? Are any voice actors you like?
To be honest, I don't pay that much attention to voice actors. I don't know if that's like a crime, because I feel like voice actors would be like, how dare you? But to me, I just immerse myself.
In some circles, it is.
Yeah. But like, I just immerse myself. That's why I didn't even like particularly mind like Asta's voice. We talked about this yesterday on the panel. People are like, oh, I hate the screaming. I'm like, I just kind of like take it along with the world. It doesn't irk me. But then maybe that also means that I don't really like notice like great voice acting either, because I'm just kind of like going through it.
Nobuyuki Hiyama. That man is a godsend.
Him straight.
God, the stuff that he's got like Johnny Depp levels of range in my book. So
For me, it's, again, don't know particular names, which is bad. Not a professional here. But I just know, for example, like Nagisa from Clannad. When I heard it in English, I was like, dear God, the Japanese one was good.
Next question, please. You in the blue right in the back.
Are there any terrible anime you feel would have actually been amazing if they were made in a different genre?
A different genre?
That's a good question. Like, instead of moe, making it horror or so on and so forth.
I don't really think I have one.
I want to see a shonen tournament arc of K-On!
how graphic.
That's it. That's it. That wins.
Do you guys have it?
Well, I would like to see Tokyo Ghoul made in a non-edgelord genre.
So just slice of life. Let's just have fun at a coffee shop.
I remember watching the first episode of Tokyo Ghoul, and it's like, yeah, we stay up late and we drink coffee. And I was like, cool.
Honestly, I want to see Tenchi Muyo in a shonen kind of style. Because that was a weird, like, kind of slice of life, kind of harem, kind of action.
It's kind of a lot, yeah.
It's a lot, and the movies kind of break it down into more specifics. It'll either be like a love story or an action story. And I'm like, I want to see Tenchi go like full shonen on someone. So.
Really, I don't think that I have many, mostly because I've seen particular franchises do this. So, like, name a genre, and Fate has a show for it. No, they do. They have the traditional action. They have the cooking show now. They have the magical girl show. They have.
Do they have any isekai?
Yes.
Technically,
the magical girl one did that first.
Yeah. Like Fate is getting milked in as far as like we can spin off Fate for everything, and they'll buy it.
I'd be interested in seeing whether, like, again, back to Death Note, back to controversial opinions. What if he never got a Death Note?
And somebody else would.
The smart schoolboy.
Exactly. He was so bored. I wanted to see what he would have done if he never got a Death Note.
Go insane.
He would have become a cop. No, actually, that might have been interesting because he would have become a cop, and then somebody else would have got the Death Note, and then he would have been hunting whoever got the Death Note.
What would it be fun?
Actually, I forgot to mention something. I've always wanted to see Pokemon as like a dark seinen. Or like,
I can dig that.
Yeah, like people are using like Pokemon as military like animals to try to take over the world and stuff.
They got kind of close in that OVA movie.
Yeah.
So
when you start to think about Pokemon, it gets real dark real fast.
Charmander might die. What?
Entries.
Next question, please. Let's go forward. You there.
Favorite palate cleanser?
Anything slice of life.
I will go back and just rewatch Yu Yu Hakusho. Like anime gets bad enough, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna go watch the Dark Tournament Saga again.
For me, it's a combination of Seven Samurai or Genshiken.
Oh, yes.
You and I need to do a video on that.
We do.
For me, it's comedies usually. So like right now, I'm doing watching Psyche as like also watching a bunch of other stuff, and then when I just want to relax and just laugh, I watch Psyche. Sometimes something relaxed like Aria or Mushishi is also really good.
For me, it's weird. It's Honey and Clover. I really like that.
How was so sure it was going to be Death Note again.
To be honest,
I guess we're back to normal.
To be honest, I think Kobayashi's Dragon Maid might be a good future palate cleanser.
And I don't even like that kind of show. That is a fantastic show.
Yeah.
It's really, really good. Next question, please. Let's go for you there with the red hat.
I have a.
I like how you checked your head for that hat.
No. I have like a quick rapid fire one and then an actual kind of question.
Okay.
Favorite Joe star is the quick. Rapid
Oh, that's
fire.
easy. That is so easy. Young Joseph.
Good.
When we say Joestar, does it have to be with Joestar in the name, or can it just be the bloodline?
Bloodline.
Jolene.
Joseph crashed an airplane into a volcano. It's Joseph. It's Joseph.
I just started. I really like, which this doesn't even count, but Dio.
Sort of.
The only
He's like half Jonathan.
You thought he was gonna say a JoJo, but it was actually Dio.
So, if y'all haven't had enough ammo to lynch me yet, I've actually not seen JoJo. I tried watching from the beginning. That was a mistake. Everyone keeps telling me to start at Stardust Crusaders, which I might do.
No.
Okay, everyone's not telling me that apparently. Where do I sign up?
Okay. Technically, you maybe as much as I don't like the first arc, you should probably start there.
No.
Or
I tried. No.
Okay, then skip the part 2. Skip the part 2. But I'm not mad at you for not watching JoJo. If anything, I'm envious because it means that you still get to experience what I already have. I cannot re-experience it in the way that you will.
Let me put it this way, though. I've loved JoJo before JoJo got popular because I got the PS1 game 16 years ago. So I knew all these characters prior. I didn't understand why this guy threw a bunch of knives, stopped time, and dropped bulldozers and shit on people. But no, if based on the game and what I know from the story of the game, Joseph.
Was there a second part to your question?
Not related to Joestar, favorite Joestars or anything like that. I'm kind of curious of what you guys think about a show like Megalobox.
It is amazing.
I like
Even the ending?
Yeah. Even the ending.
It wasn't my cup of tea. I watched the first 4 or 5 episodes and I'm like, I know where this is kind of going.
The story or the style?
It was the story. The style was fantastic.
Yeah.
You kidding me? It was really interesting how they actually purposely downgraded in order to make it have that old 90s feel to it. It's just like, this just kind of isn't my thing, but I can understand why it's a lot of other people's thing. But yeah.
I kind of hated it, honestly. And it was weird because I watched the trailer and I was like, this looks really cool. I can't wait to watch this. And then I watched the first episode and I was like, whoa, man, okay, that was not good. And then I go on Twitter and everyone's like, you should watch Megalobox. And I'm like, oh God, no. I get why people watch it, but it's one of those shows where I'm like, yeah, there's stuff that's infinitely better than this already out there. And then people are like, yeah, but it's a homage. And I'm like, so? Why would I care?
You can't use that as an argument though, because the majority of people that say, oh, but it's an homage, yeah, to a show 50 years ago, which I bet you haven't watched.
I did. And would probably rather watch that rather than the homage.
Yeah, and if anyone sees Hajime no Ippo, that is tough to compete with, and I don't think Megalobox did. So yeah. Next question, please. Let's go for you there with the hammer-like item.
That's a step.
Yes, you Steph.
Yeah. Oh, in terms of anime openings,
yes.
Which is your favorite song opening and visually your favorite opening?
Same answer for both. Steins Gate.
Can I fudge that and have an ending?
Yeah, sure.
Honestly, and y'all are gonna call me out on this, but the ending to Inuyasha, I don't know why it hit home so hard, but it usually I do know why. I do know why it hit home. Because when that show was really getting popular, I was in Yokohama, and so the snow, the Ferris wheel, because I left there in winter, and so that entire end sequence just pulled me back there really, really hard. Also, all the flowers that she broke, they were all along the roads where I used to live. So
My Will, right?
yes, My Will, thank you. Yes.
Oh, there's so many good ones. Probably my top would probably be the Cowboy Bebop opening. Jang.
Yeah.
Classics.
Yeah.
Let's jam.
Yeah.
But I also love like so many others. Great Teacher, Onizuka,
Oh.
Ghost in the Shell, the anime.
I'll take them all.
So
Which one?
take them all. Black Lagoon. So many.
Oh yeah.
We made a list together, like one of our first like YouTube videos, and it was top 10.
I have
Top
a
10
5-year-old
anime
video that's top
openings.
50 openings.
Yes.
So,
So we weren't trying to do
I was a
that.
madman back then.
So we did put Cowboy Bebop number 1, but I really like the Darker Than Black opening.
Do you guys know Yu Yu Hakusho Smile Bomb?
Yeah.
Fantastic. And next question, please. You there?
I just wanted to know what you guys think about, like, if you're Eva fans of like, the Evangelion rebuild movies, because the new movie is going to be coming out in 2020.
In 2020?
Yeah.
I will believe it when I see it.
Pretty much. We've been waiting on that. At this point, the amount of time that has occurred between the end of the original series, this is including the film, end of Evangelion, the time between that and Rebuild 01 being released, that has already surpassed the time from when Rebuild 01 released to today.
Wow.
They could suddenly decide, oh, it's been enough time, let's just start over again. And you know everybody would buy it.
Yeah.
I think in part that's why I'm kind of partial to not like it, because it's everywhere.
I still haven't watched 3.0. I own it. It's on my shelf. I'm just like, you know, I'm okay. I'll wait.
It's like when I was living abroad, it was literally everywhere. It was in every rhythm game. It was in anything that had to do with music ever, and I just didn't care anymore. It's like, it's like there are so many things that I feel like there's so many shows that I feel like they just kind of go under the radar in terms of like how great they actually were, and just kind of get pushed under. I will say this: Gurren Lagann's one of them. Like, I think Gurren Lagann deserves a much larger legacy than what it already has. But for me, it's like why I hate Miku, but I love Vocaloid. It's basically, it's like the constant product placement that you see, the endorsements. It's just everywhere, and you're like, I just need something different.
I enjoyed the movies, but the waiting is ridiculous, right? So it all depends on how it's gonna end for me too. So we'll see. But I'm already out of it. I need to rewatch all of them because it's been so long.
And I haven't even seen the movies. I don't care because to me the series and the end of Evangelion film are perfect, and I just don't want to see a reboot. Also, I've never watched the Gurren Lagann movies because it's like no, it's perfect.
Wait, does that mean you never saw the high school adaptation manga that made me want to kill myself?
I also haven't seen the high school adaptation of Attack on Titan either.
If you want to hate yourself in Gurren Lagann forever, read the high school manga. I did a video on it. Put it to that.
With Ava, that's so tricky because that is like my joint favorite anime ever. Like, I completely agree about how the Ava series and End of Evangelion are just beautiful. Like, I absolutely love them. Kind of mixed feelings about the remakes. I don't really like one because I kind of feel like it's just the same thing again.
Yeah, there's nothing of value in one.
I think 2 was a really weird, fun take on Ava, and I really, really liked it.
I just didn't understand why they added another girl. Yeah. And we're like, oh yeah, okay, so you already had... You know, it's like, okay, well, we already had the Tsundere, and like, Ray started off for a whole new thing, but we never had Megane. I guess we better add Megane.
Alright. So, I don't know, like, to be honest, I don't think the creator of Evangelion, oh my god, are you blanking on his name? Hideaki Anno. I don't think he wants to make Evangelion anymore.
He didn't want to make it in the first place.
And like, cause like the amount of, like when you go through, he's one of those authors, you go through interviews with him and you really kind of get a sense of how much he doesn't want to make it. Your man, Toriyama from Dragon Ball Z is like that as well. I was doing research on him recently and I was like, someone was like, so you know when Goku turned Super Saiyan? What was like the opus for that moment, like in surpassing yourself? And he was like, oh, well, it takes a really fucking long time to ink all Goku's hair, and so I turned him blonde, and we actually saved a lot of ink that way. And I was just like,
Well, I mean, in your big ass Bleach video, I mean, that's I kind of got the same vibe from that too. It's like, seeing the effort. I mean, that's the problem when stuff gets popular. It just is because people's expectations outweigh your own creative desire to keep going.
And I think like you do see creators who the fans are so much more into their works than they are. You know, because to them it's a job and it's a really tough job as well. Like I couldn't imagine, like being a YouTuber is not easy in a lot of ways, but being a manga artist sounds so difficult. And so like there's so many interviews where people will be like, oh, what's the religious symbology here? And he's like, yeah, just crosses are cool. I don't know. What do you want from me?
It needs to be as deep as I think it is. Validate me.
Next question, please. Let's go for it. You there.
Just really quick question. It doesn't matter if it was like specifically designed for that or just it happened. What is the most like pandering fan service scene you've ever seen? Because I watch a lot of animes that are kind of like, my interests fall into the kind of place where a lot of fan service arrives. And
Are we speaking unironically?
Unironically, ironically, just like the biggest fan service, not necessarily in like a harem or anything like that, but just in general, like the most fan service thing.
High School of the Dead. I don't even need to say what you're all thinking.
Matrix boobs. Matrix boobs.
Matrix boobs.
I think for me, any scene where it's like, I'm Kyo and I'm an otaku, because I feel like it's meant to be this moment where I'm like, I'm an otaku. And that's usually a really good point where I can just be like, I'm gonna turn this off now.
Yeah, what was that one recent isekai that I watched like the 2 episodes I gave up? Knights and Magic, I think?
Yeah.
Where the guy's like a huge otaku, like he loves the gunpla, right? And then he dies and he's resurrected in another world as a girlish boy who pilots mechas.
They can sort of do it right. There was one anime I really liked from a couple of years back called Outbreak Company. And the whole premise of it is the Japanese government found this portal to a fantasy world like you do. And they were like, okay, well, we'll have our little secret plan that we're not going to tell anybody and we're going to take them over. But in order to take them over, we're going to get them to like our culture. So then they put up an ad on the internet, like you do, and they found this nerdy-ass otaku, they kidnapped him, threw him in a bag, tossed him into this new world, and he now has to teach all these fantasy people about otakudom and all this wonderful stuff. And like, it could have been really camp and really bad, but I actually really liked it a lot.
That reminds me of Drifters.
Yeah, except not with Helsing action.
Or otakuism is more like just how to kill more effectively.
Yeah.
For me, the most traumatic that I can think of was Maho Sensei Negima. That was like the most traumatic experience. But
that was just the author like shitting on his publisher the entire time. Do you know the story about that? Yeah. Okay. So that the guy that made Negima is the same guy that did Love Hina. And after Love Hina, he was like, okay, I don't really want to do this anymore. I kind of think it's done and it's spent and I have no really more ideas. But his publisher's like, no, you're going to do this because we're paying you. And he's like, okay, then I'm going to make the main character like an 11-year-old kid. What are you going to do now?
Yeah.
And
that makes it better! But honestly, like, there was one, Manyuhi Kensho. Do any of you know that?
What?
Wow, never mind.
Oh.
Talk to me later.
I definitely thought of Matrix boobs.
Yeah.
So you called me out on that.
Also, all of No Game, No Life. It's just a pander fest.
Also, Super High Patch Wolf, Girls Bravo.
Oh.
Remember we were talking about Girls Bravo?
Oh, right. Okay, cool.
That one's a lot of that.
Next question, please.
You there? Yes, you.
Favorite shoujo?
Asking the wrong guy.
Honestly, what was it? Oron High School Host Club.
Hey.
I don't get it.
That was a really good just show.
Honey and Clover for me.
Yeah.
I thought that's Josie.
Probably, but I haven't watched anything else that could fall under the category.
mine is kind of the same in that most of mine are like half josei anyway, and I don't really have one, so I can't. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love Noda, man.
I haven't watched Noda in so long, and I never watched like the Paris version or anything like that. I think I only saw like the first 2 seasons.
Isn't Her Circumstances? Hey guys, we got 3 minutes by the way.
Then yes, that one. Isn't Her Circumstances. What Hideki Anno does after he finishes Evangelion. He goes and makes a romance and it's amazing.
Next question, please. We have time for maybe 2 or 3 more.
I would say 1.
Okay. Let's split the difference. Say 2.
Okay, 2.
Okay,
2 really quick.
Make them awesome. Everyone with a bad question, put your hand down.
Wow, some people put their hands down. I feel bad now.
What do you think of Parasite?
It's cool.
I don't think I've seen it.
Yeah, I like it. You guys
Need to watch it.
Yeah, it's a really weird, cool split between like an action and a horror, and it did some really cool stuff. Looks beautiful as well. Really, really nice.
I was really turned off by the trailers, so I never ended up watching it. But I've recently heard that the trailers are very misleading, and that I need to watch it. So it's on my friends are forcing me to watch it.
It's good. It's got a lot of like. It's got some really funny moments. It's got a lot of really sweet moments. It's got some great action. It's kind of just one of those shows. It does a little bit of everything, and it's cool. And our final question of the panel. Let's go with.
Do you think it's wise to separate the content from the creator after Attack on Titan thing and the Rurouni Kenshin?
Oh God, what was the Attack on Titan thing?
Well, what if the creator is a Nazi?
That makes so much sense!
Oh, I'm just like flashbacking through all of Attack on Titan, and it's
No,
like
no.
that
So much sense!
No, I think you have your information wrong. I think it was another.
It was someone else.
It was
I
someone
don't
else.
remember
wasn't
hearing
Attack.
about this, but
I'm someone else. It was, I think, the mother's basement talked about it. It's the MMO.
Yeah.
oh, it's the Sword Art Online guy.
No, MMORPG.
Oh, no.
Recovery of an
MMO
Oh,
Junkie.
Junkie.
you have destroyed this panel.
Yeah. It was Recovery on MMO Junkie. He was actually in Express.
I didn't get that from the show.
No, it was the director of the anime, not the creator of
I
this.
think with Attack on Titan, some people have, in my opinion, falsely claimed that his message is like that because of the manga. I don't want to get into spoilers, but I will probably make a video talking about this. But I don't think he's actually has expressed such views or anything. I think that people are misreading what he's saying. But I think Recovery on MMO Junkie creator actually was saying like racist Nazi stuff on Twitter. I think that's.
Actually, he retweeted Jeff's video, and he was like, "No, that's not what I meant," and then proceeded to say the most racist shit in the world. I guess to answer your question, like about separating, like it's kind of a divisive subject. To me personally, if I learn someone's a piece of shit, I'm done with them, and like I don't want to promote their series, and I don't talk about their series. Like to me, it's just like if you're a shitty person, you deserve to be forgotten.
Well, for me then, this isn't an anime related, and I'll be really, really quick, but like I grew up really liking a science fiction novel called Ender's Game.
Oh boy.
And Orson Scott Card is a really big piece of shit. I can still say that I like Ender's Game, because I did like it and I grew up with it. I didn't go see the film, I probably won't see the film, I'll just keep it in my memory as something I enjoyed, and that's kind of it.
I would say that yes, it's completely acceptable to separate the creator from the content because the creator isn't the one who made it lock, stock, and barrel. There are creative, wonderful people that help with story development, art, all these things. Case in point, I fucking hate Hideki Kamiya with a burning passion, and so does a large part of Japan because of how much of a dick he is. But when it comes to games like Wonderful 101, Bayonetta, all these other games, I'm diversifying a little bit. There are so many people that had so much to do with that. Rurouni Kenshin, I brought it up earlier. I'm like, I want to see that again. Drama aside, I would love to see someone else pick that up. Because what I saw there was actually special regardless of whose brainchild it actually was.
What about you guys?
Yeah, I just want to say that if you look at beyond anime as well, like a lot of classical novels, right, a lot of political books were written by people who were like racist, who believed in colonization, believed in slave trading, but their arguments in some cases with like John Locke, John Stuart Mill, ended up leading to what is we today call liberal democracy. So at some point, you have to kind of try to take the argument for what it is or the word for what it is, but it's different when they're long gone and when they're profiting off of it today, right? So it is a dicey issue.
Yeah, I believe you have to experience it critically and be aware, but at the same time, that idea that the author is dead, Roland Barthes, like, it's sometimes out of their hands, and then I agree with what Goomba was saying. You can still enjoy the art even if you don't agree with the person at all.
We ended on a heavy one. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming out of Rage. It was a lot of fun. There were a lot of great questions.
That was an excellent last question.
Really, really good.